Hi there and welcome to this week's Bryan's Model Workshop. Hi there and welcome back to Bryan's Model Workshop. Today the video is going to be split into three. There's the first part, which is going to be diecast, the second part is going to be plastic, and the third part is going to be some books. So for those of you with no interest in books, you can go off and make yourself a nice cuppa at the when we get to that third part. I'm going to start off with the diecast, and I went to a local boot sale. There was a chap there selling a box of cars, all boxed, and they were very cheap, which was great. And it's from the Atlas Editions American muscle car, or a classic American car set that's come out now, published as a part work. The first one I got was the Ford Gran Torino. It's the Sport 1972 in a rather nice green with a light green stripe down it. All of these boxes are clear plastic cases. This is just in a wrapper, but they've also got a little scene depicted at the back, so you can display them in their cases and they look quite nice. And I've got 7 of these. So there's the Gran Torino Sport, there's the Corvette, Chevrolet Corvette C2 Stingray Coupe 1963 in a very nice orange, and the detail level on these is absolutely brilliant. If you look, and it's got number plates, they've all got mirrors, they've all got windscreen wipers, and these, as I say, at the boot sale, these were buttons. So at your local boot sale you may find someone selling them off. It might be worth having a little investigate. I know the magazine itself, I think it's about $12.99 a month, something like that. I'll put a little picture up here somewhere of the actual magazine, but yeah, but to be perfectly honest, I'm just interested in the cars. Never been a massive big American muscle car fan, but these are very, very nice, and at the price you couldn't really turn them down. So anyway, so that's the Corvette. Then we've got the Dodge Charger 1972. Now this one is the car, I'm pretty sure, that was chased by Steve McQueen in Bullet, and ended up in a fireball in a petrol station when he managed to run it off the road. But again, very mean looking car in black. There's that one there. Then we've got the Pontiac Firebird 1977, with the Firebird logo on the bonnet, very reminiscent of the car from Smokey and the Bandit, or Cannonball Run even. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It's one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's Smokey and the Bandit. But yeah, as you see down there, it's, I don't know if I can get in, zoom in close enough. It's actually got Trans Am on the side there. There you go, Trans Am. So yeah, so that's a really nice one. Number plate on the back. So yeah, there we go. So that's, can we put that there? No, let's put that one there. There we go. Then we've got the Plymouth Hemi Cuda. So it's the Barracuda. There you go. So another green one. As I say, for the production values on these, I mean, there's some real weight to them as well. I know it's got a case, but I did take one out just to give it a lift, and they're pretty substantial models with metal bases, so nice cars to collect. I'm not entirely sure how many they're up to now, but again, somewhere over here there'll be a thing about where they're up to with that. But that's the Plymouth Hemi. Then we've got the nice yellow Bumblebee Dodge Challenger RT 440 1970. Now this is from one of my favourite films, a film called Vanishing Point, and anyone that's seen that will know that it was a white one. driven by Kowalski. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but it's worth watching right to the end. Yep, so that's the Dodge Challenger. Let's actually do that the other way around. There we go. And the final one, which is probably the nicest one of the lot, and this is the one that I took out. Let's have a look inside. So let's keep you in suspenders for a minute. It is the Shelby GT500, and as you can see there, the bumper's fallen off. So let's have a look and see if we can get it back in there. So one little bit of tape there, the whole thing should just lift out. There we go. All right, and it's just a little clip-in bumper. So there's the fuel filler, a couple of holes there. So there's one there. Probably needs a little bit of, as Martin would say, super duper. But there we go. It's back to normal. And again, the detailing on the front of this is pretty epic. Let's go in a bit. There we go. There we go. GT500 and the Cobra on there. The tyres have obviously got their branding as well, Goodyear. The same with the back. Very, very nice detail. So yeah, I mean, like I say, they wouldn't probably have been my first choice of going out and buying them, but at the price that we picked them up for, I think they're pretty phenomenal, really. And they're much, much nicer than the Hot Wheels king size ones, I have to say. But yeah, I just need to move that bit of tape and then we can get it back in there. There we go. So that's that one. So that's the American muscle cars. Can I balance that? Is that going to stay? Yep, right. Then the same guy had a few that weren't fully boxed, and there was this one which I absolutely love. It's the Volvo PV544, and it's from the Safari Rally in 1965. And what a fantastic looking car this is. All the decals on the back. Let's see if we can zoom in again. You can see them all. There we go. There we go. Nicely detailed. There we go. Really nicely detailed. The attention to detail on these models is second to none, really. And I'm pretty sure that, again, this is either Altair, Atlas, one of those. D'Agostini, perhaps. I'll try again, put something up about who's actually done them. But even down to all those little tiny logos, I mean, just right in close, the real details on those logos. There you go. The Singh brothers driving. Really nice looking car. The only bit of damage on this one, obviously because it's not in its boxes, it's lost one of the bullet mirrors. But Luke over at Scouring Customs is going to print me some off, and they're going to try and refurb this. But the front is absolutely fantastic. There we go. Lovely looking car. So I'll stick that one down there. Now, pardon my pronunciation because I'm bound to get this wrong. This is an Italian Bucciali TAV 832. It's a 1932. Now again, this normally wouldn't be my cup of tea, but because the way the guy was, everything was clubbed together. So if you bought a few, you got them at a better price. So I ended up buying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these for, I think they were I think the whole lot was a £5. I couldn't really resist. Nothing opens, unfortunately, but still a very nice looking model. And again, that's got its mirror. I think that might have lost the mirror there, but in the great scheme of things, I don't think it really matters on that one. So yeah, there's that one there. Then we got 2 of these actually. I managed to get 2 of these. These were so you got front steering. This is a Carrama stroke Hongwell VW pickup, and the tailgate does open. There we go. So you got your tailgate there. 1960. That one's intact with both mirrors, which is great. The second one, which is a slightly different colour, unfortunately is missing one of its mirrors, but once again the wonderful Luke over at Scale Customs is going to do me some of those mirrors as well. But these little Hongwell car armour cars, I have to say, I've got a Corsair by the same brand, and again their detail is absolutely brilliant. Tyres, like some of the Matchbox, sometimes can be a little bit tricky to get right in the right place. There seems to be a little bit of move. I'm not entirely sure whether these are the original tyres, but they might be. But I think if they are, they probably suffer with the same thing as these things, with the loose tyres, which I'll come to in a minute anyway. But yeah, a couple of nice ones there. Both tailgates open on those. Tailgates, you know what I meant. The flatbed opens up. There we go. There we go. So that's the two. So two more of those. So we've got the Lang. It is the Scammell 6x6 tractor. Now this normally had like a low loader at the back. Like most of them, you don't see them, but I have got a low loader, but I haven't got a decent one of these. So actually, getting this was actually nice because it will complete a set, and I can then reprint the decals there and there, which says Civil Engineering Constructors. Yep. So there we go. Let's have a look, see if we can get that one in. There we go. There we go. Fantastic bit of kit, that one. Very reminiscent of the one that's on the small Matchbox with the 200-ton Scammell. If you recall, it's the claret and blue one for Pickfords, which I've got. And then obviously this guy had a bit of a theme going. There was a nice VW microbus. This is the Corgi one. Can't think of the number, but if I can find it, I'll stick it here somewhere. Very nice. Detailed. A little bit smaller scale. They all say these are all 1/43rd, but if you look, quite a little bit different. Now obviously I think this is a slightly earlier model than this one. That's 60, this is probably sort of late 50s. But I don't think the size would have been that different for those. So that's that one anyway. And then to finish up in this part anyway, we had several Matchbox. So I've got the little Aveling Barford road roller with the driver. Just there. All working still. The Ford GT40, I think it is. Oh, they just say it's a Ford GT, but it is the GT40. There we go. That's the super fast version, and again, not too bad on the rolling. Let's bring it down so you can see. There we go. So that's that one, and the final one for the diecast is the old Elvis Stalwart. If you recall, this would have BP Exploration down the side. It'll have a yellow canopy and have those little black wheels that always fall off. So that's it for our diecast. I hope you enjoyed that bit. Just going to clear this lot away and then we'll move on to the plastic. Right, welcome back, and we're starting off with the plastic with a charity shop find. And this is the SRN1 hovercraft. It's the vintage classic. It was where are we? Open it now. There we go. So it's the Saunders Row SRN1. So this is the smallest. I think this was the first, like, Christopher Cockrell hovercraft, and so this was originally 1959, so it's not a retooling, it is just a reissue of the original kit. Now I've heard tell that it isn't the easiest kit or not the greatest kit to build, but I do like my hovercrafts. I've got the big SRM4, the Dover Ramsgate one, and one small sealed bag of parts, which from the charity shop is actually quite impressive, because normally they're open or half started or a third started. So I'm not going to open that right this second, because obviously I'm not going to get round to that for a few weeks. But we'll have a look at the decals. Decal sheets are very nice, very crisp cartograph. There we go. And the most important ones are those little yellow ones, which is, if I can get it in close enough so you can see it. Let's go in, hang on. There we go. There, that's the one, there we go. So, and these go on the fins at the side. You can see here the way it's all set out. So there we go. And then your little logo up there. One's on the, so you've got rudders front and front and aft. Because they actually call this a piloted craft, because it hovers. It's actually classified as a aircraft rather than a boat, I think. Don't quote me on that one, but that's what I seem to recall. So let's put those just there for a second. Then we got our. And I don't think when they did the Vintage Classic version of this, they actually updated the instructions, other than printing them like, yeah. So I'm pretty sure this would be exactly the same as the original instructions. Let's see if we can go out a bit here so you can see this a bit better. There we go, there we go. So you've got 3 steps there. So base, top and engine. Then you've got your fan, then you've got your cover, then you've got side covers, then you've got your front addition to your front skirt, then you got your channels down the side which funnel the air down the side to get the forward motion. Little cockpit there, and then you've got your rudders there. Yeah, quite a simple one. Sort of, it looks like 45 parts, so not a massive. It's 46, beg your pardon. 46 parts, so not a massive kit. A couple of colours. I think there's only one scheme, obviously, because it's. I think it was a prototype. Yeah, so we only got the one. There's the scheme. Let's go zoom in a bit so you can have a proper look at this. There we go. So you've got 6 colours that you need. There we go. And then you've got the little blurb. If I get it in the right spot, you can pause it if you want to read that. So there you go. Yeah, 46 pieces. Length 135. Width 105. Beg your pardon. There we go. So that's that one. That's the SRN hovercraft. Now this next one I have been after for a long while. I've seen them before, but sometimes they go for silly money. This one crops up on a selling site, and I paid up for it, but it's one that I've wanted for a long time. Let's get zoomed out and you can see it properly. There we go. So it's the BMW 2002 Turbo, and the reason I wanted one of these is I had one of these. I had one of these for this. In fact, it was my first ever BMW. I've had about 6, but this one particularly was a great little car. I had the engine rebuilt by a BMW technician, and who used to do it in his spare time, and it was a very quick car. Yeah, so this one is Hasegawa. I'm not sure about the kit because, as I say, I don't know that much about this particular version of it, but I saw the decals. The decals looked fantastic, and I'll get even better when I get them the right way up. There we go. We'll have a look at the instructions in a sec. Then we've got the clear glass here, which looks very nice. Looks like there's some more decals in there. Yeah. Oh, it's the mirrors, beg your pardon. So you've got your side mirrors, you've got your rear view mirror. You even got a little badge there for the 2000 Turbo. Very nice. Impressed with that. And then we've got the body shell, which is a good size. Still bagged up. And then we've got one big bag of sprues, which I don't particularly like. I really wish they would individually wrap them, but I suppose it's down to a price point. And we've got the underside of the car, which looks pretty detailed, I have to say. You got shock absorbers there. We've got the front steering column. What else we got there? We got what looks like a couple of leaf springs there. Let's turn it over. And we've got the chrome parts. So we've got the bumpers. We've got the mouldings. We've got the seats. Tyres in there. Have the tyres got any detail? Oh, sod it. Let's open it up. Only because I really want to see what's in here, so I'm just going to do it over here. Get everything out. There we go. So we've got all the chromey bits, which might have to be dipped and then redone. For these chrome plastics, always good to dunk them in oven cleaner. That takes the original stuff off, but they're not actually that bad. They're not as bad as some. Again, Hasegawa. I've never done a Hasegawa car. I've done plenty of planes and tanks and things, but never a car. So there we go. So there we've got the front spoiler, seat, rear seats, steering wheel. Nicely detailed stuff. Not virtually zero flash, which is really nice. No injector pins either. Well, there are a few, but very small, and looks to be all put in the right side. Nice instrument panel there. That's that. Here, we've got the front tub. So that's going to be a bulkhead, gearbox. Looks like dashboard, more dashboard. Alternate steering wheels, maybe? I'll have to have a look at that. There's definitely two different steering wheels. Yeah. I think so. Perhaps that's the sports one. Right, okay. Yep, so that's that. So we've got some tyres. Nice rubber ones, yep. Can't actually see anything written on them. But that is not to say that there isn't. What else we got here? We got the front grille. There we go. We've got the rims, two front seats, very nice. And there's our chassis, nicely detailed. Yeah, quite impressed with that. Right, let's have a quick look at the instructions. So, does it actually say on the box how many parts? Let's have a look. The figures not included. Well, that's weird because no figures shown. Very strange. So that's 2017. 134 pieces, 124, so 176 millimeters long and 70 millimeters wide. Cool. You can see there from the box art, it makes it into a nice kit. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. Very nice. Right, let's just put that there. We'll just have a quick look in the booklet. So it looks like you start off making the dashboard with the instrument panel, then the front, the tubs, combine all that together. Then work on the gearbox, the rear axle, exhaust, then front suspension, steering column, roll bar, then rear lights, that's right, yeah, then rear lights, front lights and grille, glass, mirrors, internal mirrors, then sticking the body to the chassis, then silver trims all the way, that's what that thin stuff is, right, so it's silver trims all the way around, which is cool. Then front bumper stroke spoiler, windscreen wipers, wheel arches, and then rear spoiler and rear bumper. Colour breakdown, yep. Yeah, all seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, so very happy to get that one. Been after a 2002 for a long while, so very happy bunny getting that one. So we're going to pause it there. I'll clear this lot away and we'll move on to books. Now I understand that books are not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm old school. I like to have a reference point for when I'm doing stuff, so we'll just go through the books that I picked up. All right, cheers. So we've arrived at the books. The first one is a Corgi Toys book. I've been after a Corgi Toys book for quite a while. I've got several Matchbox, a couple of Dinky. I've got same publisher actually. They do one on Matchbox. They do one on Corgi, one on Dinky. I've also got a book on Spot On and a few other bits and pieces, but Corgi I was missing, so getting this was actually great. Obviously it's a reference work. It's got a lot of detail about the releases at the start, but the great thing with it is it has a complete list of the vehicles and the colourings, which is a huge asset if you're restoring these. As you can see, it goes right the way through from stuff like the Ford Contour and Austin Cambridge, through things like Jags and Citroens and the A40s, Farina, through your American cars, racing cars, your trucks, your Bedfords, your Bantams, all the different variations, your military stuff, again the hovercraft, your heavy goods stuff, your box sets, farmer stuff, more American stuff. We got the little Trojan, the learner driver car. Yeah, it's a fantastic book, really nice, lots and lots and lots of stuff in there. And as I say, for anyone that's restoring things, it'll be an absolute boon. If you go right to the back, you then got stuff about your Corgi variations to these. I thought that was a missing page, but I actually checked and it's not, so that's good. So you've got your Corgi variations, then after your Corgi variations, you've got your Corgi Junior, you've got your Corgi Majors rather, then you've got the airplanes and the Husky and Corgi Junior variations, and then more stuff at the back, sort of rockets and things, all the accessory parts that you can buy, the twin packs, yeah, great book that one. So that's our first one. So that's the Corgi Toys by Dr. Edward Force, and it's published by Schiffer. There we go. And that's the cover you're looking for. There we go. That's that one. Yeah, I'll leave that out there. So I got this Armoured Fighting Vehicles, which again is really nice. It's someone's had the front page for some reason. I think possibly it was a dedication to someone, but again, no great problem. And again, it lists from the very earliest tanks, so World War I stuff, right the way through to your armoured personnel carrier as well, with tons of World War II stuff. Again, I'm not going to bore you to death with this, but personally I like having that reference material that I can have a proper look. Obviously got all the details of the information about the vehicles as well, the SDK. Yeah, really good book, lovely. And this one is published by, who are we published by? Brown Packaging Books. There we go. So Dempsey Parr, and it's Philip Trewitt, and it's armoured fighting vehicles. So that's another one, nice one. I've got this one, which is Tanks and Other Armoured Fighting Vehicles of World War II by B.T. White. The illustrations in this are not photographs, they're not line drawings, they're somewhere between the two. They are like artist impressions, which is quite nice because you can actually get a feel for, you know, different schemes of different vehicles. And obviously you got your details at the back, but lots and lots and lots of line drawings, pictures, lots of the tanks themselves, and then you've got your access point at the back where you can find out what page is what particular vehicle. So that's really cool. So that's published by Peerage Books. That's a nice one to get. Onto our aircraft, we got the Northrop F5 F20 by Jerry Scutts. It's the Modern Combat Aircraft books. These are great books, these. You get a full layout plan of the aircraft. So if you're ever struggling for what that piece is called that you've just dropped in the carpet, now you know. You won't be able to find it, but you at least you'll know. And you've got a bit of history, some lovely photographs, again of different schemes. Thought this was all black and white, but fortunately there are a couple of colour templates in here. There we go, for some different schemes. So we've got that one, got those for, let's get that a bit better, there we go. There are some more as well, there we go. That's a nice looking one, do like that one, and that one too. So yeah, when I get round to doing my F5, I shall be referring to this. That might be a tricky scheme, I would think. Is that it for the colour page? I think there's one more. I'm pretty sure there's one more. Pretty sure. But there again, what do I know? No, that's it for the colour schemes. I was convinced there was one more. Anyway, flying formation, that kind of thing. Yeah, so great book, really good. And that's, as I say, Jerry Scutts, and that is Ian Allen Publishing. So there we go. Cool, that's that one. And then we've got the Junkers JU52. Now this one doesn't have any call outs, but it does have an awful lot of information about the JU52. It's also got a bit of junk paper in it, but there we go. So yeah, so you got right the way through from sort of early 1940s. Yeah, the first Junkers G24. So although it says it's a book predominantly about the JU52, I think you get a bit of the background, and again some nice pictures, which are going to give you some detail about the aircraft you're going to build. Because obviously this one's about to come out in the a new tooling through Airfix, so it'd be nice to be able to refer back to that when I do get around to doing that one. That's in the Lufthansa, and that actually, believe it or not, is one of the ones that's sorry, let's move that across. The Lufthansa one is one of the call outs that's going to come with the new tooling, so that's really cool. So again, for those of you that like a reference book, you know, this is definitely a great one to get hold of. I know a lot of people prefer to do it online now, but I do really like just having it in my hands. So that's that one. So this is published by Haynes. It's a Haynes manual for a JU52. Fantastic. And it's written by Heinz Nawara. That's that one. We got British Built Aircraft, Volume 5. Sadly, I don't have volumes 1, 2, 3 and 4, but I am on the lookout. And this is fantastic. This is really, really detailed. There's so many different aircraft. And the great thing is it's not historical in the sense that it doesn't start, I don't think book number 1 starts with the first stuff, because there's all sorts of planes in this. So if you name a plane, it's pretty much in here. I mean, even was that the Vulcan? I just spot the Vulcan. Yeah, there we go. Look, even the Vulcan. So that's the Mark II Vulcan. I've got the Vulcan to do. Nimrod, Avro Athena, Avro Ashton. Some really fantastic pictures in here. Yeah, chuffed to bits to get this one. And it does do commercial flight as well, but there is an awful lot about the warplanes and fighter planes, so that's really cool. So there we go. It's got 1908 to 1914, 1418, between the wars, Second World War, post-war, yeah, genealogy of British aerospace and British aerospace engineering systems. Yeah, fantastic. So that's Ron Smith, and that's published by Tempest. There we go. British Built Aircraft, Northern England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Right, so there we go, that's the back page. There we go. So it was 20 quid new. Not bad for a quid. There we go. And then possibly my favourite book of the lot is the German Luftwaffe in World War II. I do like making my German aircraft. And the nice thing is it came with a couple of little postcards. So Battle of Britain through Germans' eyes. So it's obviously a miniaturisation of a newspaper report from a magazine called The Aeroplane. Really cool. So let's stick them in there so we don't lose them. Then again, this is more historical. It's about where people were stationed. Not a huge amount about the actual planes themselves, but just more the way that they were set up. So you got some really good combat maps, lots of information about the planes, certain different battles, so Battle of Britain, North Africa, Mediterranean. Yeah, really nice book, that one. So that will be in the bathroom for a read whenever I'm on the throne. And then finally, oh no, not finally, semi-finally, we've got the Airfix Modelers magazine number 7. Didn't have this one, so this was a nice purchase. Obviously an local authority library book, Derbyshire County Library, 1977. So that dates it. And again, normal fodder for Airfix. Lots of stuff about their kits, lots of stuff about making their kit, making their models. Some different colour call outs for different things, how to make your own forward controlled parcel van, Thornycroft. So parcel van construction sketch not to scale drawing by author. Yeah, cool. So that's obviously that thing there. So there we go. Yeah, there's some flag call outs, American Civil War. I know there's some, I did spot some 24 hours at Alamein. I'm sure I spotted some Napoleonic figures in here as well. For those of you, that's your thing. I mean, in my world, it's never say never. You know, I can't envisage myself wanting to paint. There we go. I knew I'd seen it. I can't see myself wanting to paint figures like this, but I wouldn't be opposed to painting a World War II figure, because that's my interest. But as I say, each to their own. Yeah, so that's that one. So that is the number 7 Airfix Annual for Modelers, edited by Bruce Yeah, Bruce Corgi. There we go. Yep, so that's that one. And then finally, Cars on Vinyl. Might have to come out a little bit for this one because this is a big book. There we go. Right, and basic premise of this is if you in your collection have an album that has a vehicle on it, then it could have made its way into this book. It's by a guy called Jack Petit. I've never seen this before. I just happened on it at the boot sale, and I think this was like 20p, and I thought, well, you know, for a bit of a giggle, it's got to be worth. So effectively, it's a tabletop book, but there are some really nice cars in here. So let's bring it around that way so you can see it a bit better. There we go. So yeah, again, I'm not going to go through every page. It's just, you know, it's just one of those books that you can pick up and have a look and think, oh, that's a nice car, or, you know, go all the way through it. There's lots of bands and albums that I've never heard of. But there's a question for you. Can you think, other than Chaz and Dave, of course, can you think of a record that you like, other than Hello John Got a New Motor, that had a car on the cover of the single or the album? Because I'm struggling. I mean, obviously, you might be thinking something like Abbey Road, where they're going across the zebra crossing, and there's the VW Beetle parked there. But oh, bit of nudity there. There we go. Yeah. I'm not turning the page and thinking, oh, I've got that album. I've got that album. I mean, these are definitely out there albums. But yeah, nice tabletop book. Like, oh, was that Herbie? It's got to be Herbie, isn't it? Yeah, the Herbie. The Love Bug. Yeah, that's the Love Bug, yeah. Obviously. So, I think we're to assume that Mr. Jacques Petit, the clue's in the name, might be French. So there we go. So you got the Herbie Rides Again, maybe, or The Adventures of Herbie, or the Love Bug, and that's obviously the French album cover. Yeah. So there we go. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. As I say, broken down into 3 parts, so any parts you don't like you can skip to. Thanks for watching, and hopefully later in the week there'll be another video out. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you get a chance. You know my thing about subscribing, it's a misnomer, but anyway, let's not get into that again now. Hopefully see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.